call the special regular council meeting to order of April the 20th. There's an agenda there in front of you. Can I have a motion, please, to adopt the agenda? Councilors Niche and 80. Any additions? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have an opportunity for comments from members of the public, but there are no members of the public present. So we will move on to the business at hand. There's a report from the Chief Financial Officer. It's 5-year financial plan, bylaw number 3671. Recommendation that Council consider replacing third reading of the 2026 5-year financial plan, bylaw number 3671, 2025, inclusive of the proposed changes outlined in the report. Can I have a motion, please, to that effect?
I can move that, Mr. Mayor.
There we go. I was going to say Councillor Skelton Mormon. I'm always catching your hand out of the corner or out of my eye. So it's moved Councillor Skelton Mormon, seconded Councillor 80. Any discussion? We will obviously consider the bylaw in a moment, but this would be a good time if you have any questions about any of the changes in the spending to raise them and have those questions answered. Councillor Randhawa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So in our new planning, we have one more job.
Yes, one more at the RCMP.
At the compared to our last presentation.
Yeah.
So this new job will how much affect on our taxpayers this year?
Yeah.
And in future, how we can, like how much percentage that would be?
CFO Bauman, what's the taxpayer impact on that one decision?
The taxpayer impact, as outlined in the report, is $99,000, and that actually was absorbed by some non-market change that occurred through BC assessment valuations. That the information came in the spring of this year, like we were aware. Thank you.
And CAO Pucci, if you want to jump in at any time, please do, but I'll be kind of directing things towards CFO Bauman. Just for the sake of people listening who aren't familiar with when we use that term non-market change, can you describe that, please?
Happy to, Mr. Mayor. Non-market change is a new property that is built and is assessed, and that is a brand new item to be able to tax. So that's when it's a new item that's built. However, non-market change can actually go in the reverse. So if there is a fire, for instance, then we lose something. And why they call it non-market is because it's not something that happened in the market through purchase and sale.
Okay. So broadly speaking, when we're talking about the adjustments we're making, we had gone into this in the fall planning for a roughly 3.7% tax increase. The spending has shifted. There's been some additions in some places, and yet we're going to come out with a 3.7% tax increase because all of those things are covered in other ways other than new tax. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Niche.
Just this one topic about the outfall flow monitoring. I guess one of my questions is because our system is so combined, what kind of charges would we be looking at for fines when it comes to the discharge with a combined system? Is this a number that's even been talked about yet?
I said, oh, thank you. I don't often just burst out, but because I have something to say about this, but we'll get the information before I rant. How's that sound? CAO Pucci.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we don't know what the fines would be, but the fines are cumulative, whereas, you'll get a fine and then you'll never get the same one. They build up. So it can, 25, then it goes to the 50, then it's into the hundreds, and then it's, 500 million, and then it can get up to jail. What what you're saying is correct, is that we have combined systems. So when we have a combined system, when they developed our permits back, last time it was done was I think in the 90s. They gave some massive numbers for our flow. So we're allowed to put out just tons of cubic meters worth of flow, which would be a mixed combined sewer and storm. If we were to pay our permits on that number that's in there, which they gave us this big bulk number, our permits would be in the $500,000 to $700,000 range. So the idea is one, through liquid waste management, as part of our plan, we need to get a number of what are we actually putting out into the harbor. But two, if we can narrow down the amount of fluid that goes out of our outfalls, we can take that number down and put a better number into our permit, so that we're not just guessing at how much. So this is mandated, which is one piece of it, but two, it should save us money in the long run.
Councillor Cunningham.
So when did these regulations come into effect? Just in the last little while? And so these fees that we're paying, they're going to the federal government.
CAO Pucci.
Correct. Well, we have two sets of permits. We have a federal permit and a provincial permit. And so the federal permit has to do with our liquid waste management plan, but our provincial permit has to be a discharge permit. So we have permits in both, and we can get fined with both, basically.
And this is a system that's been in place for 40, 50 years.
The outfall system.
Yeah, the outfall system.
They date back to the beginning. Yeah. So, any other comments? Councillor Ady.
Just on the theme of federal, I suppose provincial regulations in some cases too, it seems to me that there's a whole category of things that have been imposed upon us that have resulted in expenses, and so you can take umbrage at any one of them for the challenge it presents to a community. I'm just wondering whether we have either thought of or already have done so a more global lobbying effort with senior levels of government around that whole theme of the ways in which the decisions they make create burdens on taxpayers at the local level in ways that we have no control over. And we just have to, as it were, man up and deal with it. So I'm wondering what the best avenue for, if we haven't done that, what would be the best avenue for doing so? Yeah. Would that be through UBCM? Would it be through direct meetings with federal officials? How would we go about doing that? Because it seems to me that we ought to do that to create some awareness coming back for the future.
CAO Pucci.
Thank you, Mayor. So we are currently doing that. I've had meetings with officials in Ottawa around wastewater. So it's called the WISER Group, and it's the wastewater group. Ultimately, some of these decisions lie with our regional compliance officers, and we are working with them currently. Our director of operations is some of the challenges we find is that a lot of these officers change quite regularly, so it's almost a reset button every time we have a new officer that comes to our community. We also are working, we're very lucky that our MLA is the Minister of Environment, and we've brought forward concerns to her just recently. As last 2 weeks ago, I sat with our minister and raised concerns about our permits and the fines that we have been getting from the provincial government, and our minister will be looking into some of that with us and getting us to the right people in order to see if we could find a path.
If you'll permit me to rant for just a moment. When I read the $1.2 million expenditure, I put this into the category of dumb rules that cost us money. And you can take me aside and correct me if I'm wrong. But we dump our raw sewage into the ocean. Without measuring and with measuring, we will dump our raw sewage into the ocean. It won't change a single outcome. It may change how much we get fined or don't get fined or how much our permits cost, but it doesn't, it's $1.2 million that doesn't move the needle on anything that matters. And, and we get it nickeled and dime. To your point, Councillor 80, we get nickeled and dime $20,000 here, $40,000 there, 100. This is $1.2 million. And we used to be a community of almost 20,000 people with fish plants going all summer long, all of that being dumped raw into the ocean. We're dumping less than we used to. We know we're dumping way less than we used to. And we know we want to move off it. Like, it's not like we're standing here demanding the right to keep dumping. We can't afford to do it any other way right now. We've got a pilot project that we hope to get roughly 100 homes off of. And if we can repeat that pilot project, we can get more homes off. And that $1.2 million would be far better spent in the next pilot project to get another 100 homes off. And like, to me, and I appreciate the way our staff manage the relationships on a staff to staff level, and even with the minister. But I'm with you, Councillor 80. I am questioning whether there isn't an all-out lobby on this that says, listen, guys, you can either help us get to the destination that we all want to get to, right? Or you can nickel and dime us to death, and we'll just probably never get there. And it's your choice, but you keep talking about how important Prince Rupert is to Canada and to British Columbia, and I think this one was the straw for me that broke the camel's back, and I get that staff have to do what they have to do to comply. I get that. I want to talk to somebody and say, I want to put that $1.2 million where it'll matter. And so either somebody talked me down off the ledge, or and I invite staff, if the mayor's being stupid, tell me the mayor's being stupid, please. But if not, we got to do something. This is such a waste of taxpayer money, my view. And I'll stop ranting. Councillor Niche.
It's actually 1.5 million.
Oh, 1 point. Thank you. That makes it so much better. Thank you. Councillor Cunningham.
So this 1.5 million, is it going to the federal government, or is it going to a company to monitor the flow?
No, well, CAO Pucci, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. So it would be going to monitor the flow and reestablish what our accurate flow out of our outfalls are, and then we can readjust our permits to be more accurate, to pay you have to pay to be able to dump. So there's a permit fee. So our permits are going from quite cheap, which they were, to a volumetric based model, if I'm correct, CFO Bauman. And so with the numbers that are currently in our permit, back in the 90s, it was great to put a big number there, because then it just didn't matter. We had all of these, like, as you said, all these canneries and everything. So just throw it all down there and let's go. And now, we need to, now that we're being, we have to make payment on those cubic meters. We need to accurately look at it. And it is part of our administrative directive with the federal government. If council chooses to move that off of the budget and direct staff to take action, then we can do that. But this is a mandated.
So if I could, just as the man who ranted, I don't want to take the money away from staff in case there's just absolutely, I don't want to put us in a worse place. What I'd like to do is, before we spend that money, I'd like to go talk to somebody. That's what I'd like to do. I've got two hands, but I'm going to go to Councillor.
I just got one quick thing.
Okay,
is this a yearly thing, or?
No, it's a once. It's to get the monitoring equipment. Councillor 80.
Please let me know if this creates a burden on staff that we don't want to create. But it seems to me that a couple of steps involved. It would be good to get a sort of a smorgasbord collection of the various different expenses that have been imposed upon us by regulatory changes over, say, the last 3 years.
Yeah.
As a information piece.
Yeah.
And then to take that and incorporate it into a strategic expression to senior government for their information, that this is the sum total of what
Yeah.
has happened, and once we get that far, then discuss how best to communicate that. I would like to see something like that happen, but if it's not easy, and if it
Yeah.
diverts staff away from, then I'd look at a different way of doing it.
C.A. Pucci, how much of your time is, or staff time is it?
I think we have a lot of that information quite handy. I mean, it will take work. Don't get me wrong. But you know, all of our landfill permit things are in line. Like I said, I just met with the minister recently, and I put together all of that information. We would have to then aggregate water as well. So it'd be water outfalls and landfills that would be have to be put together. But it
There's
wouldn't be very quick, but we could get that.
landfill. I mean, we're getting hammered for the old landfill.
Yeah, all 3 of our landfills have been fined and have had the Environmental Management Act over the last 6 years has been updated twice, and
Sorry, I have to verbalize this. Which were in compliance
correct
when they closed. Like
correct
we didn't do anything wrong.
correct
Yeah.
yes. So we have all
Councillor
that in a rationale for a memo.
It depends how far you want to go back. And, you know, so many federal and provincial services have been downloaded to the municipalities. The airport's another example. It was downloaded to us.
Yeah.
And it goes on and on and on. And so, you know, at the end of the day, federal government's just going to wave their magic wand and continue doing it.
Okay, so I'm just thinking procedurally. Let's get through this. Let's come back to that. How's that sound? Is there anything else in here that you want to talk about? All right. All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have a report from the Chief Financial Officer with regards to property tax bylaw number 3674/2026. Recommendation that council proceed with consideration of City of Prince Rupert 2026 property tax bylaw number 3674/2026. Motion, please. Councilors Cunningham and Niche. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. Okay, we now move into enacting those, which is under the bylaws. Bylaw number, so item number 5A is the 2026 5-year financial plan bylaw. Recommendation is the council repeal and replace third reading of 2026 5-year financial plan bylaw number 3671/2025. Can I have a motion, please, to that effect? Councilors Randawa and 80. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have the property tax bylaw number 3674 that council introduce and give first, second, third reading to the 2026 property tax bylaw number 3674. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor 80 and Councillor Niche. Any discussion? I'll note for those that are watching, this is a 3.7% increase on the tax. All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. Councillor 80, did you want to make a motion of some sort?
Help me with the language if need be, but I think that what we're looking for is a request to staff to present a collection of the various regulatory changes that have occurred that have produced expenses for us, to respond to them with a view to using that information to put together a lobbying response to senior government.
I think that worked. Deputy Miller, you've got it? Is there a seconder to that motion? Councillor Niche. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. Are there any items, any other comments that council wants to make? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Councillor Cunningham, Councillor Skelton Morven, all in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. Meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, Counselor. Good night.